Hey guys, I hope you're having a great time. I hope you're enjoying this festive season. Hope you and your family are safe. Yeah, it's too much food. I need to slow down. I just watched an interview on O'Shea Duke Jackson's channel called Kenganda. I like O'Shea. There was a guy there he was interviewing. I think his name is George Macon the second, and and they were talking about if the diaspora. I think in their particular situation, I think they're talking about mainly the African Americans. If they can help, like if they can um, do what the Chinese are doing. And the guy says we can't even compare. There's no way the diaspora can do what the Chinese are doing in Africa. And you went on saying how Pan-Africanism is dead, how there's no way we're gonna be able to unite. He was a little bit negative about stuff, but at the end of it, I think it's just his perspective, and I think at the core he loves black people. He loves these people, but it's just the way he went about it that I sort of completely disagree with. There's a few points he made out, which is I agree with. But again, one thing I've noticed with these interviews, you have these. I know the African Americans, so there's Africa in them, right? But they like to, when they have these conversations, they like to talk about Africa. They like to dissect Africa and cut it up and divide it and do all sorts of things um, um, to sort of show the perspective on things. But the problem I found with that is like, the Berlin Conference all over again, where Africa was divided up without an African there. And I strongly believe it doesn't matter whether you are we are called African American. I think they should be having continental African American in those conversations so we get sort of a balanced view. A guy like O'Shea Duke Jackson, I respect because he was in Uganda for a long time. So he might have picked up a lot of things from there and he might even have a better understanding of what's happening on the continent. But I think this is why sometimes I feel like he's also like two-faced in a way. Because one time he might say this and he interviews this person, and in him trying to balance the conversation and keep it flowing, it doesn't go. So he might agree with one particular person he's interviewing in this interview, and this person comes along in the second interview, talks completely different from what this person was talking about, and he still agrees with him. And I think this is what sometimes I'm having a problem with O'Shea. Apart from that, nice guy, but I think sometimes you gotta stand up and say, it doesn't matter who you're interviewing, and you can say, this is my perspective, and if you disagree with them, feel free to say, I disagree with you, but obviously everyone is entitled to their own opinion. This is what I'm gonna say. Pan-Africanism is not dead. I listened to an interview on Search for Uluru with Diaspora, and there was a man there, I think he was 50 something years old, and he said he's never seen it better. It's like, when I was growing up, we never got along with Africans. This is in America. We never got along. We called them this, and they, we scared them and those sorts of things. But he said, I'm looking at the kids now. It's like they even listen to Afrobeat, and that's the link. I think Pan-Africanism is not about having a leader who's saying, hey, I'm a Pan-Africanist. All of us, no. Pan-Africanism is what we are feeling inside. These days, I think, and us having these conversations is very important. Because, I'm talking from an African, a continental African perspective, and someone who's heavily invested in Africa and just a lot of things, who grew up there, and I'm bringing this information, and someone of us in America, and this is Pan-Africanism right now. The fact that we can be able to talk about these things is Pan-Africanism, okay? So when he says that Pan-Africanism is dead, I disagree with him. Pan-Africanism is not dead. They made the Lion King long time ago when Pan-Africanism was dead, it was all white. I think there was only many white people and white people singing it. I saw the Lion King Part 2. It's black people and black people from Africa, black people from America coming together and creating something. So I don't think Pan-Africanism is dead. There's more black people right now, African Americans, and people in the diaspora, even in Brazil, moving or just visiting Africa than ever before. That's the real Pan-Africanism. It's not about having a leader like Marcus Garvey or something like that, but it's when we come out of the matrix, if I can use that, where we say, you know what, instead of this fear that has been put into us of thinking, oh, it's Tarzan style life there, or if you watch Zamunda, you watch coming to America, you can go, oh, maybe it's so nice, animals and people like that, But mainly we know it's more, it's more shown in a bad light, kids with flies and all that stuff. And if you say, you know what, I'm going to go there and actually experience Africa on my own. And when you go there, you might have a bad experience, you might have a good experience. Just like you might have a bad experience or a good experience anywhere you go. But believe me, when you get to Africa and you're black, you feel something. I think a lot of people will agree with me. Just the fact that you look around and everyone looks like you, and you become a majority, that's empowering in itself. It's a feeling that you can only feel when you are there. So Pan-Africanism is not dead. Pan-Africanism is well and alive, and it's in us. There's a lot of African Americans doing business in Africa than ever before. That's the true Pan-Africanism. It's not about having a leader. This guy kept going, oh, stop it. No. There's a lot of haters, But like what I said in my previous video, wherever there's honey, there's bees. So if you want to get the honey, be willing to get bit. They'll bite you and soul and face and this and stuff. That's the only way you're gonna get to the bee. You gotta be willing to get bit by the bees. So there's a lot of haters in Africa. There's a lot of things where we could do better. But I've seen the progress as well. Compare Africa today to the Africa of 1990, when the Soviet Union collapsed and all the guns they used there ended up in Africa, and the wars and people cutting each other's arms and all this stuff. And today, 20 something years later, it's a better Africa right now. And this is one of those countries there, the fastest growth, 6 of the fastest growing economies in the world are in Africa. Rwanda just did 12% last year. So we are getting better. The problem is, people look at China today and they look at Africa today. And they go, the Chinese, they have a strong army. There's nothing we can do. 30 years ago, the Chinese didn't have a strong army. If you are old enough, you remember that these guys used to wear almost like the same uniform in China. That's why everyone wore. They had very little cars. You see them in the cities, they were pushing these things on wheels. It was just like wheelbarrows kind of, but made out of wood and all that. That was China 30 years ago. But it was the diaspora, Chinese diaspora, and some of them from San Francisco, descendants of some people who were slaves in San Francisco, Chinese descendants, who said, you know what, we can go to China and open up a factory, manufacture something there, and then bring it to America. Now, here's the thing. No one is stopping an African American to go to an African country and do the same thing. The problem that you guys have, everyone wants to go to Nigeria and wants to go to Ghana. That's the problem you have. You have 55 houses in Africa, 55 rooms. Visit a few. Don't just go, oh, because my DNA says I'm 40% Nigerian. Oh, well, what you don't know is that some of those Nigerians actually were in the Congo. So they were in the central part of Africa, central southern part of Africa before. Africans used to move. So don't look at Nigeria and Ghana are the only destinies you're going to go to. There's Benin, there's Togo, and all these other places. But most importantly, look at the whole place. Because there's now groups. There's the East African Corridor. There's the West African Corridor, which they call ECOWAS, and the EAC, East African corridor. It's also there, Southern SADC, and all these places. So visit these areas and see one that fits you. And I also tell people this. Try to visit, I think, countries in the East and Southern African regions. It's an easy transition into Africa. You know, Namibia, Botswana, you know, Rwanda, you know, Tanzania, Kenya, you know, countries like that. You visit, even South Africa. South Africa, you have to remember, it's 90% black. So even when you hear issues, black people are the majority there. When you get out of South Africa, or maybe on the plane there'll be more white people, but when you get into South Africa, you'll find out that most people are black. And it's a very good place to do business. Very good place. So don't believe when people tell you that Pan-Africanism is dead, like what this guy was saying. Secondly, he's talking about business-wise. No, third actually. Second, I just said that when the Chinese started, so when those people started going to China, when this Chinese diaspora started investing in China and paying taxes to the government realized something. So they'll collect the money, and then they started investing into the people, into these factories. And before you know it, they started making enough money to invest in their own military. You know, so when you start looking at China today, you're not looking at China 30 years ago. Because what every normal person should see, when you look at China 30 years ago and where Africa is today, you realize actually Africa is in a better position right now than China was 30 years ago. Because believe me, there's still poor people in China. Ask Wanda Maya. He lived there. He'll tell you. At the train station, there'll be people from Chinese villages who didn't even know how to use all the machines there. It was Wanda Maya was showing them. So, you know, there's 1.4 billion people in China. About maybe a billion are okay. So there's still 400 million people in poverty living in China. That might be the same number of people in Africa who are living in poverty. So don't look at China now. You have to look at China back, and then you compare if Africa is standing at the same, and then that gives you hope. Because you have to look up now and say, if China can do it in 30 years, we can actually do it in 10 years. Because in Africa, you don't have to go and mine and get things from far, from another continent. You can get everything on this continent. You know, you want to be a jeweler, you can go open up a mine, a diamond mine, gold mine, whatever, and start making jewelry. You know, if you want to do farming, there it is. 65% arable land. You don't need to go anywhere. You can grow it and then ship it to America. So those factories, when they start happening, when the African diaspora, including African Americans, if you can put your money together, just like Jim Morrison, in 1 week he was able to raise $10 million. Had he taken that money and bought a mine in Africa, right now he could have more than quadrupled his money. And I'm saying this not as a joke. This is real. There's someone who bought a mine in Zambia for $20 million. Within 18 months, that copper mine, he had made $500 million, and he was laughing at the people of Zambia. You know, so there's an opportunity for you. Let no one scare you. You know, so you can go there and start a factory, because that's how the Chinese started. We can copy their route, follow that one. And by the time we know we're going to have a strong military, if Africa can have a strong military, there's 54 countries, that gives us power even at the UN level. If you want help, if you understand the science of politics, a strong Africa can actually help African Americans in America. Because now as a group, the Mexicans now are the second biggest group in America, you know. But what Africa can do is provide you with the chance to multiply your wealth. You know, when you go there, start growing things, start mining, start doing all sorts of business, and then connect in our communities. Let's say in black communities, in the African American communities, you connect Africa to that. You know, we connect it, and the money that we're gonna start making, use that to have influence. Look at the Jews. The Jews are a small population, but I tell you what, everything the Jews ask for, they get, because money is power. Okay, so don't listen. Don't listen to these guys that are saying these things. Then the other part, you're talking about, oh, the Chinese are controlling African countries and they're investing, they're building. Yes, the Chinese are building. But I gotta tell you something. The biggest investors in Africa are Africans. Africans that live or left in the last 30, 50 years to go study somewhere and they stay there and make money. You know, from 2005 to now, China has invested about $300 billion in Africa. That's nothing compared to what Europe invests. And also, the Chinese loans have actually got lower interest than the European bonds or loans. They also have, the Chinese also have, it's just better structured. You can sort of negotiate. The Chinese are in Africa to do business. You know, the whole thing is on the Africans. It's about how the Africans approach the Chinese. The Chinese are doing this all over the world. I'm in Australia right now, and they have a port. They have a port which they bought. This is in Australia, and they have 99 years. There's something they wanted to do in Tanzania until Magufuli cancelled it. You know, they have mines here. They even have a landing strip here. So they're here to do business. They pay their taxes and all that stuff. So they are here to they're here to do business, and they're doing the same thing all over the world. You know, so when they go to Africa, unlike the Europeans who want to tell you about how you go about it and this stuff, the Chinese are just following what you've put on the table. You know, they're following your business deal. So if Africa has poor business principles, then it's on them. They're there to do business. The thing is, we have to educate our African brothers to say this is the real business. This is how we should do this so that it benefits the countries even better. So that the business, and if you look at most of the businesses that are happening with the Chinese, it's actually very beneficial. You know, because they say, you know, we're going to invest in your, we're going to buy your iron ore, but, you know, but what are you buying? What are you going to buy from us? And then they go, okay, why don't we, oh, there's nothing. Okay, why don't we build you an airport? And then it's up to you to go, you know what sort of airport do I want? And you negotiate the price. And also, not every project being done in Africa right now is done by the Chinese or with Chinese monies. There's a lot of projects which are 100% done by African government. Look at Tanzania. The high-speed rail line there, it's 100% done by the government. You know, so the biggest, China, $300 billion over 15 years. That's about $20 billion a year, right? The African diaspora send almost $70 billion every year to Africa. Who's the biggest investor? You know, the problem is we are not organized. You know, like I said, Jim Morrison in America was able to raise $10 million within a week. If you guys can do that, get organized and put all this money together, we could be the biggest investor in our own continent. And things will move faster. You know, so let's focus on coming together and getting organized. That's why groups like the ADDI and some of the things I'm gonna start doing on this YouTube, you will see that we're gonna start working together. People are moving to Africa and making money. Look at the black market records. The guy is making money. JT, the bigger figure. I don't know if even Ted Riley, I heard, was moving to Rwanda, and they're making money there. So don't listen to people that are discouraging you. I think I said this even in my previous video, to move to Africa or visit Africa. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to people that are telling you that Pan-Africanism is dead. It's not dead. We are the investors Africa needs. Let's not leave it to the Chinese are out there to make money. But what does the diaspora need? We need skills. We need skills in finance. We need skills in construction. We need skills in mining. We need skills in agriculture. So these are the skills. If you are a kid, if you are young, if you have kids in America, start getting them into these skills. If you can get these skills, put the money together, go to Africa, buy land, start agriculture. Go to Africa, come together, buy a mine, start mining. Just want to say thank you for listening to this. And I hope one day I'll appear on Osha Duke Jackson's channel so we can have this discussion. It's not a debate, but I'd just like to air my views, because I think like every time these discussions are happening, there's not many black people speaking when it comes to this. I think there should be. Any Pan-Africanist Pan-Africanism sort of a talk, it should include the continental Africans, not just African Americans, because that's how we're going to understand each other better. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe and share this video. Thank you. Goodbye.